Hello again, EVE players. Over the course of the last few months I've received quite a number of questions in the comments of my EVE Online tutorials, and as such I want to dedicate a few videos to actually answering all these questions. So I'd like to welcome you to the very first questions and answers video for EVE Online. Most of these questions have been submitted through the YouTube comments on the various tutorial videos. But I've also found some questions on the official EVE forums, the Steam forums for EVE Online and various other places. So let's get started with the first batch of questions for this episode. The first question: is EVE Online free to play? No, EVE Online costs about $15 per month. However, there are 30-day pilot license extensions for sale that can be bought with in-game currency for about 600 million ISK. If you make enough ISK every month to buy these, you will essentially play for free. Question number 2. What is the best race in EVE Online? There are actually two sides to this question, so I'll cover both of them. First of all, does it matter which race you pick during the character creation? And the short answer is no. As of this moment, the race you pick influences three very minor things. Most importantly, it influences the overall look of your character. Each race and bloodline has a specific look or style to them. Secondly, it decides where you start the game. Each race has 3 rookie systems in which new players are spawned. Thirdly, it determines the initial frigates you will be able to fly, and by extension, what race's frigates you receive from doing the tutorial. Just know that you'll never be stuck with a single race. It's very easy to cross-train into another race's ships by just buying the skill books off the market. The other side of the question: what race's ships are best to use? So not talking about the actual race during the character creation, but the actual ships that you can buy off the market, which all have different stats and stuff. And the answer is that there is no real best. There are hundreds of different ships in EVE Online, all with different pros and cons. For most ships there are 4 similar versions, one for each race, and their basic purpose is usually the same, but the attributes are often slightly different for each variation, you know. Some ships are inherently better than the other races, but that does not go for every single ship. And in the end, it's really just a matter of your personal preference for the type of weapon system, if you like shield or armor, that kind of stuff. You'll really have to compare the variations to decide on what ship you prefer or what race you prefer. Question number 3. If a ship is destroyed, is it gone forever? Yes, a destroyed ship is lost forever regardless of its value, so be very careful about what you decide to undock in. You are able to take out an insurance policy on your ship, and that pays out a portion of its value when it's destroyed. Whether this is worth it or not depends highly on the type of ship you're flying though, and it only covers the ship's hull. It doesn't cover the modules and it doesn't cover the cargo. Question number 4. Are space stations built by players? Well, some of them are. Only the stations in player-owned 0-0 systems have been built by players somewhere in the last 8 years. Once built, they cannot be destroyed, they can only be conquered. And building a station is a huge effort with a huge price tag, easily ranging into the 25 billion ISK figure. So don't make any plans on building your own anytime soon. Question number 5. Can you leave the station after starting a manufacturing or research job on a blueprint? Yes, you can. You can even deliver your industry job from within the same region once it's done. But you will have to go back to the station you installed the job in to pick up the delivery. Question number 6. Is it possible to set up Planetary Interaction on all 3 characters on my account at the same time? Yes, it is. Your Planetary Interaction will keep running regardless of the selected character, even if you're offline. But keep in mind that your characters do need the right skills to do PI, and skill training can only be done on one character at a time unless you use a Plex. Question number 7. Is manufacturing and research viable for new players? Manufacturing is pretty easy to get into. To start, you can buy a blueprint copy from the contract system and you can start building from those. Those are pretty cheap and probably the easiest way to get started with manufacturing. That way you can start with small items and slowly work your way up to bigger stuff or larger volume. Research is a little bit harder. It will require you to buy an original blueprint, which are often very expensive, and the research slots in HiSec are pretty much all occupied, all the time. So to do research efficiently, you'd have to own a player-owned structure, or a POS, to perform the research in a reasonable time frame, and owning a POS, fueling it and running it are way too expensive if you are considering yourself a new player. Question number 8. Is it true that invention can fail? Yes, invention is chance-based, unfortunately. There is no guarantee you will get a Tech 2 blueprint out of it. But at the same time, you will lose the ingredients 100% of the time. This makes it a very expensive gamble. But Tech 2 stuff is also in high demand, so it's also highly lucrative to attempt once you have enough cash. And that about does it for the questions for this episode. If you have your own questions about EVE Online, feel free to ask them in the comments below, and I will try my best to answer them in the next episode. You can also reach me on Twitter or Facebook by clicking on the annotations displayed on the screen right now. Thank you for watching, please like the video, and I'll see you next time.